Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold, we read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Okay, welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and thank you for being here, and I appreciate your support. Oh my gosh, so it's been a minute since we've talked about our girl Laura Owens, and we just did an episode on her parents Ron and Jan and their bankruptcy. But today we're talking about Laura Owens and her plea deal offer deadline of June 29th. And here's what makes it kind of interesting, because her court appearance is that day at 8:45 a.m. in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, where all these crazy things happen in Maricopa County. I don't know. That place is crazy. I don't know what's in the water. Anyway, the question becomes, is this going to be simply another procedural hearing, or are we approaching a turning point? Because today we're going to look at where this case stands and what is happening astrologically and what energetic themes are surrounding this deadline. And then we're going to explore several questions that I know many of you could be asking. Like, is she moving closer to accepting this deal? What's driving her decision, and what is she not seeing clearly, and what a path appears to be most likely around June 29th and after. And as always, this is an energetic and spiritual inquiry. It's not legal advice, not legal prediction, or a statement of fact. This is my opinion, insights, and, for entertainment purposes only. So let's dive in. All right. So if you're new to the channel, first of all, thank you for being here. If you don't mind, like and subscribe and comment, as long as it's kind. All right, our little overview here is Laura Owens' case gained public attention after allegations involving multiple men, legal filings disputed claims, and a pattern of behavior that eventually led to criminal charges. The case has evolved over several years and now includes 14 felony charges. Damn! I mean, she's an overachiever in felony charges, right? There are multiple alleged victims involved. Additional witnesses are expected, and the legal process has become increasingly complex. And for those of you who have been following this story with me, we've looked at multiple lenses here. We've looked at the psychological, the archetypal, the spiritual, the energetic patterns, and most recently, Laura was offered a plea deal that carried an expiration date. Now, this date has shifted, and the deadline is June 29th, and I'm recording this on June 23rd. And this is why this date feels really important, because whether she accepts a plea or rejects it or seeks additional negotiations, June 29th feels like a pressure point. Not necessarily an ending, but a turning point. So let's talk about what's happening astrologically now. Remember, I dabble. I'm not an expert, but I love this stuff. I hope you do too. So let's look at what the sky looks like, the energetic weather. So back in April, when we discussed the previous plea deadline, the energy felt very different. April felt like resistance. June feels like reality. And the sun is now moving through Cancer. And Cancer energy asks a very different question than Aries does. Cancer asks, what protects me? What preserves my future? What keeps me safe? Cancer is not focused on winning. Cancer is focused on security. Cancer is focused on preservation. And that matters here. Because when people are facing major decisions, like our girl Laura is, they often shift from asking, can I fight this? To what happens if I lose? Real important question here. That's a different mindset. And we also have Jupiter now moving through Cancer, and Jupiter expands things that it touches. Themes of home, family, emotional truth, protection, and security become magnified. For someone with a Taurus sun, this can create a powerful internal question. What am I trying to protect? My reputation, which is a big family cycle, my future, my finances, my freedom, my family. The astrology right now feels less focused on pride and more focused on consequences. So it's less focused on proving a point, more focused on preserving what remains. Now, this is just the energy, right? Bumps heads with Laura, right? Then we have Saturn in Aries, and Saturn is the planet of accountability. Saturn doesn't play. Aries is the sign of action. So together they ask, what are you actually going to do? Not what are you thinking about? What are you hoping for? Or not what you're hoping for. What are you going to do? And this is the energy surrounding June 29th. Not endless delay, decision. So I asked questions and I used my cards, and you know me, I love my Lenormand cards, and the energy is interesting. So the first question I wanted to ask and did ask is Laura moving closer to accepting the plea deal or closer to trial? Now, I picked some interesting cards. I got Key, and I got Anchor, and I got Sun. And this is really a clean combination. It's clear. The Key represents certainty. The Anchor represents commitment. And the Sun represents clarity, visibility, and something becoming impossible to ignore. Oh boy. And what's fascinating here is that I don't see confusion. I don't see indecision. I don't see wavering. I see a decision becoming solid. Now, the card suggests that something is becoming very clear behind the scenes. Whether that clarity points towards a plea agreement or a commitment to trial remains to be seen. But energetically, this does not feel like someone floating in uncertainty. It feels like someone moving towards a definite position. Buckle in. All right. And then I asked, what does June 29th represent energetically? A turning point, a delay, or a commitment? And what we got was fish, clouds, and cross. And this feels kind of heavy. Fish often speak to resources. And remember, we've got, her and her parents in bankruptcy. And that's no bueno, right? So fish can mean money, energy, what is being invested. Clouds bring the uncertainty. Do I have enough money? Where am I going to get these resources? Right? And cross brings burden, consequence, and weight. And what I find interesting is this doesn't feel like a delay. It feels like a reckoning with reality, the financial cost, the emotional cost, the personal cost. The burden appears impossible to ignore here. And June 29th doesn't feel like business as usual with Laura. It feels like it's a day where the weight of the situation becomes real. So maybe, just maybe, she's seeing the light. So the question 3 was, what is driving her decision right now? Is it fear, strategy, pride, or self-preservation? And what we got was, we got fox, we got moon, and we got coffin. And this is fascinating because with the fox, that's strategy. When I first saw this, I was like, strategy, strategy, strategy. And then we have the moon. Moon is reputation, image, and perception. Remember, she is all about that. And then we have coffin, which is an ending. To me, this says the focus may be less on fear and more on image again. How is she remembered? How does this end? What survives? What narrative remains standing? And the coffin suggests something is ending. So the question becomes, what is she willing to let go of? The fight? The public battle? The identity attached to the fight? And this feels strategic, not impulsive. So she's always a box of like something, in my opinion. She's like the Pandora's box. Once it's open, you can't put it all back. So we'll see what happens with that, right? So the next question I asked was, what path appears most likely after June 29th? Plea, resolution, continued negotiation, or trial? Now, the cards we pulled were dog, but house first, and then dog, and then we have bouquet. And this really surprised me because it feels calmer than other readings. The house brings stability. The dog brings support and trusted allies. And the bouquet brings improvement and a more favorable atmosphere. So whatever happens after June 29th, these cards suggest the energy becomes more stable, not more chaotic, not more explosive, it's just more stable. And this doesn't automatically mean plea deal, but it does suggest that some degree of resolution or easing may begin to emerge. All right, then I had to ask this question because I want to know, what is she not seeing clearly right now? And this was bear, mountain, and woman. And this is powerful because bear is power. Mountain is the obstacle. Mountain is the obstacle. And the woman is her. Okay? So this suggests she may not fully appreciate the size of the obstacle she's facing. Denial's a deep river, right? Oh boy. Maybe she believes that she has more power over the situation than she actually does. Either way, bear and mountain together create a formidable challenge to her. Okay? This is not a small hurdle, Laura. This is something substantial. All right. And then I had to know, because of what popped up as I was doing this spread pull, was, does she consider her parents' financial situation, or is she only focused on herself? And interestingly enough, we got man, we got rider, and we got letter. And what I found interesting here is that I don't see isolation. I see communication. I see advice, information, discussion. The man could represent her father or an attorney or even a trusted male voice. The rider brings messages, and the letter brings documentation and facts. So these cards suggest that information is being communicated. Advice is being shared. Conversations are happening. These cards don't show someone completely disconnected from outside concerns. But the real question may be whether the information being presented is ultimately persuasive. And as I sat with these cards, one thought kept returning. Has the decision already been made behind the scenes? Because the very first cards that we got were, remember, we got the key and the anchor and the sun. And these aren't indecisive cards. They're the cards of certainty. So perhaps June 29th isn't about making a decision. Perhaps it's about revealing one. So as we move towards June 29th, I think the most interesting thing isn't whether the cards show a plea deal or a trial. It's that they show clarity. Something feels like it's hardening. Something feels like it's becoming unavoidable. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think June 29th is a genuine turning point? Or do you think it heads towards a plea deal, a plea agreement? Or do you think we're going to trial? So please keep your comments thoughtful in the comments section. Always be kind and respectful, as you have been. And I want to just say that you have been. And I appreciate that. I appreciate what you think and how you feel. And always, 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 I appreciate your support and liking and subscribing. And we'll be watching closely and feeling our way through this. Thank you for being here, liking, subscribing, and sharing. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and I will see you in the next one.